Can you even imagine inheriting 1,300 acres of land out of the blue? Well, that's exactly what happened to me. My great-aunt, who I barely knew, passed away and left me this massive estate in her will. At first, I was just in shock. I mean, what do you even do with that much land? But then, I found out something that turned my surprise into a full-blown mission. It turns out, my great-aunt wasn't just a landowner. She was the landlord to an entire homeowners association. A huge, sprawling community of about 300 upscale homes was built on her property. So, I started digging. Why would she lease the land instead of selling it? The answer was in a letter she left for me. Years ago, the HOA, led by a particularly nasty woman I'll call Karen, had tried to swindle the land from her. They'd used every dirty trick in the book: legal threats, lowball offers, and constant harassment. They made her life a living nightmare, thinking they could bully an old woman into giving up her family's legacy. But my great-aunt was tougher than they thought. She held on, but the stress took a huge toll on her. The letter also revealed the details of the lease agreement. It was a 99-year lease, and get this, it was signed back when the land was practically worthless. The annual rent for the entire 1,300 acres, a measly $35,000 for the whole community. That's less than $120 per house, per year. My jaw hit the floor. This wealthy, entitled community was living on prime real estate for basically nothing, all while they had tormented the woman who made it possible. The worst part: the lease was up for renewal in just 2 months. My great-aunt had been holding on, waiting for this exact moment. Now, it was my turn to finish what she started. I met with the HOA board, and Karen was still in charge, smug as ever. She treated me like a kid who didn't know anything. She offered to renew the lease for another 99 years at the same ridiculous rate. She even had the nerve to say it was a generous offer, and that I should be grateful. I just smiled and told her I'd need to review everything with my lawyer. Her face fell a little. I don't think she expected me to put up a fight. Little did she know, a fight was the last thing on my mind. This was going to be a swift and total victory. After consulting with my legal team, we drafted the new lease agreement. It was a work of art. We didn't just raise the rent, we brought it up to the current market value. The new annual rent for the 1,300 acres, a cool $3 million. That's right, from $35,000 to $3 million. But we didn't stop there. We added clauses that the HOA would be responsible for all property taxes, infrastructure maintenance, and land management costs, things my great-aunt had been paying for out of her own pocket for decades. It was ironclad. The day I presented the new lease was a day I will never forget. I walked into the HOA meeting, and the air was thick with arrogance. Karen started the meeting by announcing they had a standard renewal ready for my signature. I politely declined and handed her my proposal instead. As she read it, her face went through every shade of red imaginable. The room fell silent. You could hear a pin drop. Then, chaos erupted. People were yelling, shouting that it was illegal, that I was a thief. Karen screamed at me, "You can't do this." I calmly looked her in the eye and said, "I can, and I have. The lease is up. This is the new price. Sign it, or you have 60 days to vacate the property." They threatened to sue, of course. They called me every name in the book. But their lawyers quickly told them what I already knew. The contract was airtight. They had no legal leg to stand on. They had been underpaying for a century, and the party was over, in the end. They had no choice. They signed the new lease. Many of the residents who had been part of the original bullying campaign had to sell their homes, because they couldn't afford the new, fair market HOA fees. The community dynamic completely changed. It was no longer a haven for entitled bullies. It became a place where people understood the value of the land they lived on. My great-aunt got her justice, and I became the guardian of her legacy, ensuring no one would ever take advantage of it again. Thanks for listening to my story, and don't forget to follow for more.